Hey guys, how's it going? So I did a stream just this past week with my friend and constitutional lawyer, Katherine Henry, and we were talking about this whole Michigan Supreme Court case and how they did rule against Governor Gretchen Whitmer. And we talked for almost 2 hours, and Katherine gave out tons of good information. Well, since then, I've had some questions for you guys. So this video is just a short video to try to clarify a few of those questions you guys had and how complicated this whole process has become. So one of the main questions you guys had is, let me back up before I do that. So they ruled against Gretchen. It was supposed to be over, right? Well, no, not exactly, because she said she's going to use other means, which I've talked about on this channel, and that she's going to go around other methods, and that she still has 21 days and all of this kind of stuff. So what she's done is two things. First of all, she's filed for a motion to delay to the Michigan Supreme Court. She's asking them for another 28 days. But in the meantime, she has the MDHHS, which is the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. She's having them, which I would note as part of the executive branch, they're now issuing orders that are basically almost the same as the executive orders she was using that were ruled unconstitutional by the Michigan Supreme Court. And people have brought up this important point. They said, but hold on a minute. This is one of the pages here of the opinion from the Supreme Court. People said, well, hold on. It doesn't just have the governor's name on this lawsuit as a defendant. It also has people like Governor of Michigan, Attorney General, and the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Director. So it appears that he was a defendant, or the office was a defendant in this case. So common sense would say, well, hold on a minute. He lost too, right? Well, this is quite frankly too hard for me to completely explain. So you guys had some questions with this. So lucky for you, I'm not going to explain it. I was lucky enough to get to hang out with my friend Katherine again at a local 2A event in Fowlerville, Michigan. And she was answering questions from people. I was there filming. Somebody had a great question that I think a lot of you have. So let's hear the answer to some of this, in addition to some of Attorney General Nestle's questions from Katherine Henry herself. And I'm going to put this video on my 2A EDU channel because it's kind of a follow-up to the stream. There's quite a bit more footage I have from this same event that I was at with Katherine. I'm going to put that on my Patriot EDU channel. So I like to keep stuff mostly gun related on this channel. So if you guys are from Michigan, or even patriots throughout the whole country that are worried about how this court process works, maybe for your state, look for future videos very soon picking up on the same topic on my Patriot EDU channel. And I'm going to put the link to that down in the description. So here's Katherine explaining how crazy a lot of this has become.
I want to know if the health department for Michigan was originally on the original Supreme Court lawsuit, so they can come and clarify that that's all unconstitutional.
So the lawsuit, there's two main ones that are pending in the Michigan Supreme Court right now. One of them is the legislature's lawsuit against the governor, which is only against the governor. The two parties are the legislature and the governor. That one's still pending. That one, they haven't decided if they're going to take up that case or not. So there's still some briefs that have to be filed, that kind of thing. The other one, the one that actually had the hearing on September 9th, that was the case where 3 doctors' offices and 1 patient came together as plaintiffs and sued the governor, the AG, and the director of the Department of Health and Human Services. And that's the case that I participated in just as Restore Freedom, just representing the people of the state of Michigan in an unofficial capacity. So in that case, at oral argument and in the briefing, the governor and the director of the Department of Health and Human Services had their own attorney, and interestingly enough, the Attorney General filed their own briefs and had their own attorney. In fact, the Attorney General's counsel was arguing from day one that the governor violated the 1976 law. That never made it to the news, but she was already saying, yeah, the governor violated the 1976 law. So, in fact, at one point, I, in oral argument, made the point of, at that time, it was 183 executive orders that were on the books, and I said, it was exactly 6 months to that day, and I said, it's been 6 months and 183 orders, I said it was over 180, but anyway, so one of the Supreme Court justices was questioning the Attorney General's attorney, and said, well, what do you think about this? It's over 180 some, executive orders. And she just said, yeah, there's quite a few. In fact, there's so many I can't even keep track. And I was like, just said that in the Supreme Court. Yep. And so I also made the point of being 6 months, a full exact 183 days at that point. And so I want to say it was Justice Viviano, when he was questioning the attorney for the governor and the Department of Health and Human Services director, he said to him, well, yeah, Miss Henry was saying that, it's already been 6 months, isn't that quite a long time? What do you think about that? And he said, well, quite honestly, I don't know. It's been a long time, but I have no idea. I can't count all the days. And I was like, so, yes, the answer is yes, that the director was labeled in that lawsuit. The problem is the two questions that were being asked. It wasn't a case that started in state court and worked its way up. It's a case that was filed at the trial court level in federal court. The federal court judge said, well, there's all these claims, but two are related to state law and the state constitution. And so they did a certified question, meaning the first question they wanted answered by the state Supreme Court was whether the governor's executive orders violated the state laws after April 30th. And number two, if either of the state laws, the EPGA from 1945 or the EMA from 1976, if either one of those violate the state constitution. So they answered the first question first and said, yes, the governor violated the EMA, the 1976 law, 7-0 decision on that. Then they said because she violated that law, they weren't even going to answer the question about if the law itself violated the state constitution. So that is still out there. Then they said the 1945 law is unconstitutional because it was a delegation of, powers from the legislature to the executive. That same argument should definitely apply. In fact, my brief that I filed yesterday to stop her request was to give her another 28 days to keep having these executive orders, just for the whole purpose of her being able to put into place enough other emergency orders through the director of the Department of Health and Human Services. She says that in her brief. Well, we want to be able to employ all these other laws. Okay, so what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you're not allowed to have these executive power or these legislative powers, neither is he. It's interesting because a lot of the analysis that they go through was great. Like Justice Markman, who wrote the majority opinion, he said, well, the legislature is allowed to make laws. They're not allowed to make more legislators. And so, well, duh, because there's not a delegation. But then, they come to the conclusion that, well, this particular one is unconstitutional. In fact, he came out and said in one point that he doesn't know of any other law in the books that he's aware of that would ever have the same kind of powers granted to, one individual like that. And so, basically trying to set it up like this is it, that's all we're going to handle, we're not going to handle any others. I'm hoping it's because they didn't think it would be remotely possible that she would be so callous and disregarding of our Constitution that within 10 minutes of the decision coming out, she's doing a press conference saying, well, don't worry, mine are still good for at least another 21 days. When it's not even, and the director of the Department of Health and Human Services had his press release. You should go to the Michigan.gov website and look at it. It's disgusting. It goes through all kinds of stuff, but one of the things it does is it mocks the non-delegation doctrine, they're calling it. It's not a doctrine. It's in our state constitution. It's like it's a clause. There's actual words in there. It's not a theory. You have to follow it. So I'm hoping, my brief goes into all of that, but I'm hoping that because they opened this Pandora's box, that we could try to get the Supreme Court to do something to hold them accountable and limit it to that. But it's not that he wasn't a party, because he was. It's that those statutes weren't litigated. Yeah, nobody briefed those statutes. So, I don't know. He also quoted, I want to say it was Justice Scalia in a Supreme Court case that said something to the nature of, if there's something unconstitutional being done, then the court can't just turn a blind eye and just go, oh, not going to deal with it, I'm just going to ignore it, let you do your thing. They have to step in and they have to put them in their place, basically. So I reused some of those same, I just grabbed a bunch of the legal provisions that they rested upon and said, hey guys, hello, this isn't okay. okay. So there's no legal basis for it. Hopefully they see. But the interesting thing is a lot of my main arguments that get to the meat of these kinds of things are in the footnotes because they didn't really fit in the main body of the argument. And I was already pushing the limits on what they're going to accept.
And that's the thing too. It doesn't grant. It doesn't
Anyway.
give you permissions. It doesn't do any of that.
Well, I hope that clarified some of the questions you guys had. It certainly did for me. Now, there's still many more questions. Again, this is complicated, and the governor is making things way more complicated than it should be, and it's my opinion that she's trying to end around and go around the rule of law, that she doesn't respect the separation of powers, such as the legislative branch and the judicial. So I'm going to have more videos over on my other channel, Patriot EDU, and hopefully she can help answer some more of your questions, and hopefully I'll have her back on here soon to talk about this stuff more during another live stream. And let me know down in the comments if that's something you guys would like to see, because I had a great time with her last time, and it seems like you guys did too. Alright, thanks for watching, and have a good one.